a near-death experience after being hit by a car, and the wackiest place to find your keys. All this and more on this episode of Real Life Angel Encounters. Angels, we all have them. They're our unseen guides, our companions, our teachers, and they're all around us. Sometimes they make themselves known in the most miraculous ways. Join me, Level 3 QHHT practitioner, angel communicator, and Reiki master, Christy Clemens Hoffman, with stories from real people who have experienced uplifting phenomena and real-life angel encounters. Hello and welcome back to Real Life Angel Encounters, the award-winning podcast. I never get tired of saying that. Yes, the podcast where we get our paranormal with a heavy dose of positivity and our spirituality with actual spirits. I am your host, Christy Clemens Hoffman, and I'm glad that you're listening because guess what? This is a pyramid scheme. The more people who listen to Real Life Angel Encounters, the more people will share their stories so that you've got great content. In fact, let me let you in on a couple of insider tips. So, how can you find out even more wonderful, entertaining, and uplifting stories? Excellent question. So, how you can help to find better stories is share the podcast. Tell your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, everybody that you know about the podcast, Real Life Angel Encounters. Show them how to find it on their favorite podcast app. Share this episode. Heck, why not? Wherever you're listening, there is a way to share it. I promise you. So share this episode because I think you're really going to like it. But share it with everybody that you know, and that will encourage them to listen as well and maybe submit stories of their own. That's really how this works. Other ways that you can help, you can purchase the book, Real Life Angel Encounters. Real people share real stories of miraculous encounters. It's out wherever fine books are sold online. And hopefully, with any luck, you've got copies at your local bookstore. If you don't, ask them to carry it by name. This is an internationally best-selling book, you guys. So based on this podcast and featuring some of the best stories from season 1. You don't want to miss that. Now, you can also help the show by giving a thumbs up, a like, a rating, 5-star review, writing a little blurb to review this show wherever you are listening right now. It goes a long way. Comments also help a lot in the algorithms. YouTube, Spotify have places to put comments, and that really boosts things. So let's grow this show, shall we? And if you're in a particularly generous mood, you know what? You can donate directly to this podcast because it's free for you to listen. You know, one of these days I will get around to creating a subscriber version of this that you can listen to and receive some freebies and some gifts in addition to the great content, but we haven't gotten there yet. And for now, you can help cover some of the costs because it's free for you to listen, but it's not free to produce. In fact, we have costs to produce the show and it comes out of my pocket. So if you can help out, that'd be wonderful. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. We have 2 callers to share their stories. First up is Tammy Barton. Yes, I'm giving her full name with her permission because Tammy is a local Kansas Citian who is a fantastic shamanic healer. She's been doing this type of thing, energy work and all types of metaphysical woo-woo stuff long before I ever started. I've been in this business 10, 11 years, and she's been doing this for 20 years here in the Kansas City area, but she also leads some amazing retreats outside of the country. And you're going to want to know her and find out about her. So her link will be in the show notes, but I think you'll enjoy her stories. And now we have Tammy, who I've known for years. I don't even know where we met, but Tammy, you've got some amazing stories.
I do. I've experienced several, and so I tried to condense it down into sharing a few with you for the podcast today. Thank you for having me. It's great.
You know what? Every once in a while, I just think, oh my gosh, I really, really need stories for this podcast and put the call out. And everybody always weighs in. I was so happy to hear from you about this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. You do the same type of work that I do, and you've been
Mhm.
doing it way longer than I have.
I've been doing it for 20 years this year.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I've only been doing
Yeah.
it, I don't know, 10, 15 years. So that's awesome. So I wasn't surprised at all that you had some stories to share because of what you do and who you are. So this seemed really great. Yeah. Let's crack into it. You had an experience as a kid.
I did. I
Wow.
did. I was in grade school. I was about 8 or 9 years old and was walking home from school. It was one of those like winter, spring days. And I was walking with my best friend, Deanna, at the time. And so we are very excited to get home and that type of thing, and came up across a busy intersection. So there was a stoplight and it had turned red for us to be able to go across. So we were just waiting. And a friend of mine was across the way with her mom in a car getting my attention, and the light turned green. And I decided to try to hurry up and get across the street so I could go see my friend and her mom that I played softball with. And the crosswalk lady noticed that there was a gal. She was in her 80s in a red car that was not stopping at the intersection. Fortunately, she was able to get a hold of my best friend, Deanna, and pull her back, but she did not get a hold of me. I did not see the car coming. It hit me, Christy, on my left-hand side, and I don't remember getting hit. But I can tell you that it was a near-death experience because I had no broken bones. I had no internal injuries. But during that process, I would say I saw the light, as many people who have had a near-death experience share. But what's interesting, when you're 8 or 9, I was raised Baptist, so I had an idea what heaven was like. But it wasn't like heaven was depicted to me in the Bible or, outside of the white light and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And so I saw my angels. And I also call them my council members. And with me studying shamanism over the last 10, 15 years, I've had that opportunity to kind of be able to connect in with them and learn more, one, about the accident and why I came away with not having any broken bones or internal injuries. And within that, we had like a board meeting, Christy. And I
9 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I entered in and I saw the light and I'm sitting in this chair and I'm looking around the room. And they were like white light beings.
Wow.
And they were like elders. And so what are we going to do with her? Do we send her back? Do we keep her here? Is she done? And I'm just kind of taking it all in. And then they all looked at me. Christy was like, well, what do you want to do? Like, we know that you have more to do in this lifetime, and we will do everything that we can to keep you safe.
Wow.
And I was like, let's do this. And so I immediately, it was almost like light beam speed, back down. I kind of came to my Sunday school teacher at the time, Donna Olson, was right here at my face. There were a crowd of people surrounding me. I had coats all over me. And all I wanted to do was get up and get home because I knew my mom was waiting for me.
Oh my God. Now, I think you said you had a concussion, maybe?
I did. That's the only thing. After all the x-rays and MRIs and all that kind of stuff, the doctors were astounded. I had no injuries besides a concussion.
Wow. Wow. That's, usually how our guardian angels work, our own counsel, because we all have counsels too. But that's how they typically work. They'll swoop in and, save your bacon when it needs to happen. And then, just set you upon your way. That's amazing. Were you able to tell anybody about this?
At the time, I think I told my mom. She was a prayer warrior. She's on the other side now. And so I was telling her as far as a little bit of my experience, and she just kind of nodded. Well, of course, the angels were around you. So I'm glad that I had that connection with her. But I feel like as I got older and began really studying like my own spirituality and connection with the angels and guides, that more continued to evolve as far as my time on the other side.
Yeah. Right. Now, since then, have you been visited by these beings, these angels?
Yes, absolutely. And I call them my council members.
Yeah.
And like I said, studying with shamanism, Christy, I have done several shamanic journeys to where I have gone and met with my council members. And they've been here in this earthly realm as well. And so I've created quite the beautiful connections with them. And I do feel like, as I'm 54 now, they have kept me safe with other like near-death experiences and other ways that I've worked with clients and my own family members and that type of thing as well.
Yeah. Now, you do have another story, a similar brush, right? What happened as an adult?
Oh my gosh. My former partner, Sherry, and I were driving to Fargo, North Dakota. It was during the winter. And so, of course, the weather is always very unpredictable. And we were in a 4-wheel drive, Jimmy. I was driving. The weather was starting to get inclement as far as like freezing rain, but it wasn't bad enough, so to speak.
Mhm.
And within that experience, we went over a bridge and hit, I would say, some black ice. And the vehicle started skidding like sideways. And it was like warp speed once again. And I was doing everything in my abilities to be able to counter intuitively adjust, but there was no adjusting. The vehicle went down in the median, popped up on the other side, going the opposite direction. Thank God there were no other vehicles. I was trying to stay in the lane, even though we were going the opposite direction on the other side. But the vehicle went down the ravine into the ditch, but it was a large drop off.
Yeah.
And I could feel the vehicle like tipping and wanting to flip. And I, once again, was still trying to do everything in my mental cognitive abilities to be able to stop it. And it is like an angel truly came down from the heavens and grabbed a hold of the wheel and just jerked, and the vehicle stopped. So Sherry and I are just kind of looking at each other. Are you okay? And one thing we did not realize is right before the incident happened, she had unbuckled her seatbelt and grabbed something out of the back seat and came to the front seat. And then this incident happened. She didn't even have her seatbelt on. So we're like, that was like a little God wink. Like it didn't flip because more than likely it would have been catastrophic. But what's crazy, which crazy cool, I would say, is that we got out of the vehicle, assessed, and this gentleman up on the road, he was in a truck, was hollering down at us. And I'm like, where did he come from? Because nobody's out on the road. And he's like, hey, are you ladies okay? So he walks down to where we are and we're like, yeah, we're assessing the vehicle. Nothing was wrong with the vehicle, even though we went up and down and all around and down in the ditch and except mud and some hay and, grass and that type of thing. And he's like, I don't know how you kept from flipping. He goes, because I witnessed the whole thing. And I'm like, how did you just witness the whole thing? Of course, Cherry and I are we were both very connected. We're like, he's got to be an angel in some way, shape, or form. And so he's like, I have a winch on my truck. And I'm like, well, do you think it was probably about 50 feet down in the ravine? And I said, do you think your winch will actually reach where we are? And he said, yeah, I think so. So he walks back up, brings the winch down. He goes, I'll get you out of here and you'll be on your way. And I'm like, no way. And sure enough, we got back on the road and we asked to pay him. And he's like, I don't want anything. You ladies are safe. And just be safe getting to where you're going and have a happy holiday. And so Sherry and I were both like totally like so many God winks happening and angel experiences in that regard. So yes, that's another experience where I feel like it was an exit point, Christy. And the angels in physical form and angelic form came in and just said, this isn't your time. You still have more to do. And I flashed back to when I got hit by the car with my council members, letting me know, saying, hey, we're going to keep you safe because you're not done here. Mm-hmm. And it's just this sense of peace and knowing that ultimately anything is possible when we have the angelic realm and we're connected and aware. Even when we're not like aware, they're there. Yeah.
Always. Now you mentioned something, Tammy, an exit point. Now, for those who might not know what that means, can you explain?
Yes. I feel like exit points, you may have differing opinions or like-minded. I feel like more than likely we're like-minded.
Yeah.
Are different points in time in this earthly realm where we have the opportunity to go or stay. And I feel like when I got hit by the car, it was an exit point, a possibility of that. I chose to come back. The incident with the vehicle, it could have been my time. It could have been Sherry's time, but potential exit point where higher powers, angels, that type of thing came in and said, no, you're not done yet. And I believe that every single person goes through these exit points or near-death experiences. It doesn't have to be like near death, but they can still be enough to where if everything was just right, it could have been really bad and changed my life considerably, but it didn't. So that's kind of my belief system with the exit points. Like I said, I believe we all go through them. And it changes our life some way, somehow, to where you can look back on that point in time where the angels were around us.
I agree. And that's how I see the exit points as well. And remarkable that there was no one else involved in this accident, because that could have been not just you and Sherry, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these are fantastic stories that I think are so typical of how our guides and our councils work
Yeah.
with us, right? Come
Yeah.
in and get us out of harm's way, get us out of danger when it's just not our time.
Yeah.
So you are definitely plugged in. And you do shamanic work, you do energy. I mean, it's like you do all kinds of things. Tell us what all things that you do to help people.
Oh my goodness. Well, my journey started with massage therapy 20 years ago, and then I tipped my toe into craniosacral therapy. And I would say that was the tremendous eye opener that there's so much going on inside the body, our organs, fascia, connective tissue, mentally, emotionally, central nervous system, all the things. And that's what got me, I would say, really into the metaphysical realms. And I kind of hold those two definitely hand in hand as far as working with my clients with the physical body and knowing that it's a tremendous experience to be able to listen in on all levels to what's happening with the body, mind, and spirit and be a witness to, and then be a light holder for them to be able to heal and find their path. And along the way, I've always been drawn to Native American spirituality. Like I said, I was raised Baptist. I'm so grateful. It provided the foundation for faith and prayer and knowing that there's a higher power that be, but I really felt like I had to venture out on my own. And that's where like the shamanic aspect, and I've been studying shamanism for about 15 years. I teach it now, but definitely there's not a day that goes by that I don't connect in some way, somehow. Each of my healing sessions, I'm always calling in my healer spiritual team to be able to help me facilitate the greatest avenue of healing and just to be a vessel, quite honestly. But I love to teach it as well so that I am able to witness students, people who are connecting in with the whole shamanic realms, find their own way and being able to kind of connect in with their angels and spirit helpers and guides and power animals as well. So, yeah.
And you lead retreats. You can lead
I
these
do.
fabulous international retreats. You have anything coming up?
Wanting to get back to Mexico, actually, probably in the fall of 2026. I lead spiritual retreats down there to where we actually do a Temazcal or a sweat lodge. We connect with a shaman there. And that is a whole spiritual rite of passage where you truly get out of your own way or you struggle and fight with the heat and that type of thing. And that's where the shaman comes in and your spiritual helpers and guides within the Temazcal. And it's like you're being rebirthed and reborn. So you set different intentions. And so I love doing the Temazcals and connecting with the shamans down in Mexico and then lead different, I would say, ceremonies on the beach that kind of work with the four directions and four elements of earth, air, fire, and water, ancestors and loved ones as well, depending on what time of year we go. But I probably one of the biggest things that I receive from that is witnessing, even though we may be there just for a week long immersive, I witnessed the spiritual healing and growth, emotional healing and growth just within that 7-day time period.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's quite beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
lovely.
quite beautiful.
Yeah, if someone wanted to find out more about what you offer and maybe sign up for a retreat, where would they find your information?
They can find all my information on my website at www.illuminatingthesoul.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter. I'm also available on Facebook and Instagram, Illuminating the Soul as well. And I send out different newsletters and offer a variety of different workshops and classes on chakras and connecting in with your spiritual helpers and working with your intuition and so many other workshops as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You are a real powerhouse. One of the, the leaders in our community here in the Kansas City area. So I was so thrilled to find that you were willing to share some of your stories. I would love to have you back to tell more
Would
stories.
love that.
You'd be open to it. Wonderful. Okay. And we'll put your link in the show notes as well. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy Barton.
Thank you.
We'll be talking soon. Next up is Stephanie, all the way from Ireland. I really love our international storytellers. Have you ever lost something and searched for it only to find it in some random crazy place later? Yeah, that happened to Stephanie. You're not going to believe this story. And now we have Stephanie from Dublin. I love getting international callers. This is so exciting. And Stephanie, you've got some stories of your own. Welcome.
So much. I do. I'm really excited to share today. I love the angels. I love this podcast. And there's just something special about the energy of angels. I'm a channel myself. So I channel multidimensional beings. And I feel there's this special connection I have with the angels. I can just feel it's just so beautiful. And I can feel it here with me today. So I'm really excited to be here and to be reminded of their power.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, your first experience with them seems to be when you were about 20 or in your 20s.
That's right. Yeah. I was only reminded of this by a friend at the end of last year because I started my spiritual journey really officially in my work in my 30s. But in my 20s, I was feeling lost. I didn't have a particular spiritual connection as of yet. I hadn't built that up. And I was having a really low moment and I went to sleep that night and I may have even asked for help. And what I experienced was an angel came to me in my sleep, but the angel woke me up. So I ended up being awake. So it was a very, very real encounter. It was woken up and it was a beautiful angel with big long eyelashes. And she shed a tear, again, feeling my pain and sadness, and it dropped onto my face. And what I understood, and I just intuitively knew that it was a healing, and even though I hadn't known anything about healing or anything like that, I just knew, okay, this isn't something to be scared of because she was crying. It was a reflection of my pain and I knew I was being taken care of. And yeah, like I said, I didn't start a spiritual journey too much later, but at that particular point in time, it was just a very supportive and caring environment and encounter with the angels.
And so at the time, what did you think? You have this angel over you with these beautiful long eyelashes where you just kind of, oh my gosh, what the heck?
I just felt really comforted because I just felt like, wow, this is something very out of the ordinary, very special, very different. And I just felt if this is possible, then I know that I can be taken care of and I know that my life will turn out okay. I think at the time, I didn't know what I was going to work at. I just had a lot of stuff going on and it didn't solve it all at once. But I just knew, wow, if this is possible, then it's okay to believe that things are going to turn out and miracles can happen.
And they did turn out for you. So you
Yeah.
went on and you discovered your place with the channeling and with the angelic healing. That's amazing. Now you have another story about lost keys.
Fun. Yeah. And it's a great one, really. It was great evidence. So, yeah, it was just as I started my journey setting up my own business, a spiritual business. I did an angelic healing course and I just started building up this relationship with the angels. And again, I could just feel the energy of them immediately. And so I was just like, always talking to them, always bring them along with me, always asking for help. And I just moved into a new house and I had locked myself out of my house twice because one of those doors, once you close it behind you, you're locked out. And I was keeping my keys. I don't know how I was doing that, but I got into my car. Yeah, I was keeping my keys separate to my car keys. That's how I was doing it. So I got into my car and I realized, oh my God, I've locked myself out again. I can't go to my neighbors again. This is so, I've done it twice. It was a great chance to meet the neighbors. Well, thank you for that experience. I don't want it a third time, And then I asked the angels for help. I felt their presence and all of a sudden the keys were in my mouth.
What?
Yeah.
Your mouth.
My mouth. Yeah. So I just know that I didn't put them there. I wasn't walking out into my car with the keys in my mouth. I know that was just, but it felt like there was like no glitch. It felt like it was just like, oh, they're always in my mouth. And I was like, they're in my mouth. Here they are. It felt like it was so seamless, like they could just put them there so seamlessly. But at the same time, I do know for sure they weren't in my mouth because I was speaking out loud to them. So I know that they weren't there before.
Oh,
amazing.
I don't know how they do things like that, but they do.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that works. How can you have them in your mouth and not know? That's wild. Now, you also had another story about the angels helping to heal your mom. And I'm so sorry. You said that your mom had passed after that.
He did pass. So she was sick for many years and she did have a stint in hospital before she passed, a few months before she passed. And at the time, I had again asked for help and I called on some friends working in who I knew, healers, energy healers, and we were all working to help my mum, who was very critical in hospital. She was given 24, 48 hours saying she's very critical. And I was able to see, and I have another friend who's very intuitive, Archangel Michael and two other angels form a triangle around her. And they were able to also kind of sort of gatekeep the energy coming towards her, because there were a lot of healers sending her energy, and they were kind of making sure it was at a level that her nervous system could support, and also just helping to heal her. And overnight, I saw her heart rate go from it was really dangerously high, like 130, right down to where is meant to be like 100. I just saw that go over the space of 20 minutes. Like, it was really amazing. And the next day she made it through the night, kind of getting through that 24, 48-hour period. And within 4 days, she was up walking around the hospital ward and released from hospital within a week. And the doctor said to her, there she is, Lazarus, and doctors don't say that, right? They're very scientific. He said it is a miracle. He used the word miraculous and Lazarus. And I just thought that was a really key way of saying, yeah, they can really just do some beautiful healing.
Oh my goodness. So I ask this often of people who've had these remarkable stories. Why you? Why do you think they came to you doing these amazing things?
Well, I do believe they can come to anyone. I think it is a case of asking. And I felt, particularly with the keys situation, I felt like I had just done that energy healing course. So that was my connection. So even though I hadn't explicitly, I was asking them for help, but that was them saying, hey, you want to work with us? We're going to show you really, really clearly that we can work with you. And I think sometimes they work with me now and it's a little bit more subtle and a little bit more gentle. I kind of find when I start that journey, every time I've kind of stopped and started again and asked for help, I think they like to make their presence known at first. I don't know, would you agree? And then they're like, okay. And then it just kind of comes more integrated. And of course, like during those really like intense times when someone is very ill, and I think they can really, really make their presence known. So for me, in all cases, I asked for help. In the first case in my 20s, I didn't know who I was asking. I might have been praying to an old Catholic God. I don't know, but the angels came.
So you were raised Catholic then?
I was raised Catholic, yeah. So I wasn't overly religious, but that was the religion that was taught to me. And so I just always did have a belief system, but it just kind of, I suppressed it. But in those kind of dark times, that's what you do. You call and you ask for help, and you're like, God, if you're there, please let me know. And, it is amazing when you get that answer.
I agree. This is a point that I always like to make, and you brought it up yourself, that everybody can have these experiences. We don't have to be Joan of Arc. We don't have to be Moses to have these experiences. But people always do ask, how can I have an experience like this? And you said it yourself, you've got to be open to it at least. Do you have any other tips if somebody's wanting to have an angel appear to them? Any tips that you would suggest?
I think being open, I could have easily said, oh, were these keys always in my mouth? Even though I don't know. So,
I carry things around in my mouth. I do. I've got my hands full. I'll put something, just hold on. Anyway, yes, we all do that.
It's open. And I think the more open you are, I know, for example, with my mum, after she passed, I asked for a sign and I said, can you flash the lamps? I know spirit flashing lights can be the kind of one of the simplest, easiest ways to communicate with us. And my light has been going in my bedroom ever since. And I'm like, I think you're going to break the lamp, Mom. So I really feel I know it's such a simple answer, but I think it is as simple as asking, because every time I've asked, I've got an answer. But maybe it's by being open to, okay, in what form might it come? It may come at a time when you've lost your keys, or it may not come at that exact moment. And when I say to my mom, say yes for this, no for this, that doesn't work. I just know that she's just saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. So I feel like there's definitely a little bit of understanding that they are using a lot of energy to communicate with us, as I understand. And so it's about being open and understanding that it may not come exactly in that form. You may not get my exact experience, but certainly they will answer. And if you ask, they're going to do their best to make sure that you understand that they're there.
I think so too. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing your story all the way from Dublin, Ireland. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Lovely to chat.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and follow, and be sure to share this episode. The more people who know about this podcast, the more great story submissions we get. Have a story to share? Email your own real-life angel encounter to angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com or visit radiatewellnesscommunity.com/real life angel encounters podcast, or join our Facebook group and continue the discussion. Want to know what your angels and loved ones have to tell you? Schedule an appointment with me at radiatewellnesscommunity.com. A special thanks to James Wheeler for the original music and to Tiffany Baumgarten for the logo design.